r/askreddit. What is the saddest scene in movie history? She had got the cancer and died on a Tuesday. I bought her a new hat with little flowers on it. And that's all I have to say about that. I think Jenny's death was sadder because he was just getting happy with her and his son. I always thought Forrest raising his little boy without Jenny or his mother though was sad and haunting. I'm sure he had some great people around him to help, LT Dan, but still felt off to me. A Chico waiting 9 years for his owner. I saw this on an airplane back when everyone would watch a movie at the same time. You could hear people sobbing throughout the whole cabin. My wife could see the movie but wasn't wearing headphones so she couldn't hear and she was crying. Shit, I can't even watch the episode of Futurama where Fry's dog waits and waits and waits. This was not okay for me. I can't handle it. However, I went to Japan and took a pic with his statue by the train. He gets so much love now. Makes me feel a little better. When Woody gives up in the incinerator. It wasn't just the fact that Woody gave up and accepted their fate. It was all of them. When they linked arms I was falling apart. What the fuck did you just say? You better be lying. Oskar Schindler, newly minted Nazi war criminal, pawing frantically at the last vestiges of his wealth, realizing they meant more lives not saved. The scene with the one-armed worker always got me. The poor guy's out there doing his best and they shoot him for no better reason than they can. He's the only member of the Nazi party to be buried on empty Zion. Same kind of movie. Mine was The Pianist when the Nazis rolled the old man in the wheelchair off the tall balcony to kill him. Montage in the beginning of Up. Watching Cole and Ellie live their lives only for him to be left with nothing but a house and bittersweet memories as the world keeps moving forward. Granted happy ending but still right in the feels. They said so much without saying a word, and they did it beautifully in mere minutes. Really masterful storytelling. Absolutely. The scene that got me though was towards the end when Carl had cleaned the house and found the photo album's last page. Thanks for the adventure. Now, go have a new one. Love, Ellie. I know it's not a traditionally acclaimed film, but there's a bit in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire where Cedric Diggory's dad realizes his son's been killed, and he's trying to get to the front of the crowd and he's shouting, "That's my son, that's my boy." Oh, man. I can still hear him screaming. The actor nailed that scene. What struck me the most through that whole sequence of scenes was how unceremoniously and quickly Wormtail killed Cedric. Absolutely no second thoughts, no stare downs or monologues. One spell and he's dead. That messed with my brain for a long time. When those two Ewoks fall down and one of them doesn't get back up again. Same, I was hoping they'd both stay down. Just gonna toot my horn here. I've translated one Ewok phrase further than the Star Wars websites. One when Princess Leia and Wicket hide under a log. Wicket says Akieta. Then both hide under a log. 2. At the Ewok celebration and Ewok screams Akieta. Then everybody parties. I can only deduce that Akieta translates to get down. Make him stay, Murph. Don't let me leave, Murph. But today is my birthday. And it's a very special one because you once told me that when you come back we might be the same age. And today I'm the same age you were when you left. So it'd be real good time for you to come back. The first scene is followed by an immense catharsis shortly afterwards, so I'd lean more towards the second one. That scene where he's driving away from the house and he looks under the blanket in the passenger seat to see if Murph was hiding under it tore my heart out. Man, so many scenes from Interstellar just catches you off guard. The Shawshank Redemption, when Brooks was released from prison, still gets to me. When Brooks sets his bird Jake free, it is so sad. Oh. I've decided not to stay. The world went and got itself in a big damn hurry. When Will Smith has to kill his dog in I Am Legend. Broke my goddamn heart. It's kind of funny how Will Smith is Will Smith in every movie. Interstellar, coming back to Earth seeing his daughter dying of old age. I would say it's more sad when Cooper comes back after 23 years and sees the messages of his kids already grown up. When he's trying to get Murph's attention from the other side of the bookcase. I was sitting on the edge of my seat. Push the book. Push the book. In atonement when the true stories are revealed as the writer is finishing the book. I seriously felt my heart break. Saving Private Ryan. Either the medic crying out for his mother, or when the guy freezes as his friend is slowly stabbed. I cry in the part in the cemetery. Tell me I'm a good man. That movie is one of, if not the, best World War II movie I've ever seen. It portrays the horrors of what those soldiers went through so accurately it's scary. It's a scary thought to think that one morning you can eating friends with your buddy and in the afternoon you can be zipping them in a body bag. Where's his glasses? He can't see without his glasses. I loved this movie when I was a little girl. Then when I was 17 my stepbrother passed away and his glasses were stolen from his apartment before his funeral, so he didn't have his glasses when he was buried. That scene crushed me as a kid. I tear up even thinking about it still. The scene where Miguel sings "Remember Me" to Mama Coco and she remembers the words. As someone whose older relatives have succumbed to dementia, things like them remembering your name, joining in on family grace, or being able to tell a story are the most moving little miracles. I've never cried that hard in public before. I was with a friend who'd never dealt with dementia before and he got sad a scene later when it's revealed Mama Coco dies soon after, and it sounds silly but I felt like he was sad at the wrong part of the movie. When Mama Coco has that little moment of recognition my heart broke. It was such a beautiful thing to be able to share that moment. This was the part that made me think about my grandma. Even just reading an article about the song made me tear up. That movie is the only movie in recent memory that made me cry like a baby. In Castaway, when Tom Hanks' character goes to Helen Hunt's character's house, and as they are parting forever, she says, "I always knew you were alive, I knew it. Everybody said that I had to let you go. I love you. You're the love of my life." Gets me every time. Damn it. That one is extra bad. All the other, insert loved one dying, scenes are hard, but there's finality to it. These two have to spend the rest of their lives knowing the other one is there, alive, each longing for the other, with no end in sight until death. Fuck, what a shit way to start my Saturday. I know it's dumb, but it makes me super sad when he loses Wilson. I was more sad when he lost Wilson. I have been, and always shall be, your friend. Live long, and prosper. New. Of all the souls I have encountered in my travels, his was the most subhuman. Edit for misquoted line in the movie. Nice. For me it would be. Uhura, Captain, I have orders from Starfleet Command. We're to put back to Spasadok immediately. To be decommissioned. Spark, if I were human, I believe my response would be go to hell, pause, if I were human. Chekhov, course heading, Captain? Kirk, second star to the right and straight on till morning. You stay. I go. I am not a gun. Superman has me bawling my eyes out. Another little sad moment before that is when Hogarth got the giant to change back from his destructive mode, and the giant looks about ready to break down for a moment, panicking and about to freak when it realizes what it done, after already having that horrible guilt from earlier when it reflectively shot weapons at Hogarth. He felt he had a lot to make up for by going up there and choosing not to be a weapon, but a hero. You are who you choose to be. When Pikachu shocks Stone Ash and it doesn't wake him up. When Lucario sacrifices himself and reunites with the soul of his old trainer. I'd also like to add in the Pokemon Secrets of the Unknown movie when Molly Hale is bawling into Entei's chest crying for her papa. Oh my god. I'm tired, boss. Mostly I'm tired of people being ugly to each other. You tell God the Father it was a kindness you done. The scene in Titanic where the elderly couple lay down in bed to accept their death together. For me it was when the woman was reading her children a bedtime story as the ship was sinking. Gets me every time. For me it was the man playing the violin on the deck as the ship sank. According to some sources those were Ida and Isidor Strauss, the original owners of Macy's. Theirs is the true Titanic love story. That old couple was meant to represent the man who started the department store Macy's. He and his wife died on the Titanic in each other's arms. That is the only positive piece of information I have from working for that damn store. Dear fellas, I can't believe how fast things move on the outside. I saw an automobile once when I was a kid, but now they're everywhere. The world went and got itself in a big damn hurry. The parole board got me into this halfway house called the Brewer and a job bagging groceries at the Footway. It's hard work and I try to keep up, but my hands hurt most of the time. I don't think the store manager likes me very much. Sometimes after work, I go to the park and feed the birds. I keep thinking Jake might just show up and say hello, but he never does. I hope wherever he is doing okay and making new friends. I have trouble sleeping at night. I have bad dreams like I'm falling. I wake up scared. Sometimes it takes me a while to remember where I am. Maybe I should get me a gun and rob the Footway so they'd send me home. I could shoot the manager while I was at it, sort of like a bonus. I guess I'm too old for that sort of nonsense anymore. I don't like it here. I'm tired of being afraid all the time. I've decided not to stay. I doubt they'll kick up any fuss. Not for an old crook like me. P.S. Tell Haywood I'm sorry I put a knife to his throat. No hard feeling, Brooks. It's not your fault. Don't fuck with me, Sean. Not you. Best actor ever. I can rewatch that movie anytime. Son of a bitch stole my line. The Fox and the Hound, when she leaves the fox in the forest and is reciting the poem I lose it. Also the whole of Blue Valentine. For me, it's the scene at the end when Copper stands in front of Todd when Amos Slade is taking aim to kill him. Such a powerful moment of friendship. That's when I lose it even more. The scene that gets me is when they see each other in the distance and the voices of them as kids plays over it. Copper, you're my best friend. And you're mine too, Todd. Schindler's List. Where they finally show the little girl in the red cape as just another broken corpse on a heap of discarded humans. Every scene and grave of the Fireflies. Came here looking for this. That movie wrecked me. The baby mine scene from Dumbo. I am a grown man with a beard and I will never not cry at that scene. Artax in the Swamp of Sadness. It was always the rock-biter giant that got me. With those big, strong hands. The ending of Stand By Me, because most of us can probably relate. It was sad in one way when I first watched it, but watching it again after River Phoenix died just made it so much worse. Dances with Wolves, when Two Socks the wolf gets killed. Can you see that I am your friend? Can you see that I will always be your friend right there at the end after they had so much conflict? Really hit me hard. In Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where Yondu Udonta sacrifices himself and gets his dream funeral. When that dog waits for Fry in Futurama. Everyone brings that one up, but for me it's the one where he finds out his brother named his kid after him. I also like the one with his mom, although it's a little hokey. Futurama had no right to make me sob like that. First 10 minutes of Up. For me it's a tie between the mother raving on the train and receiving electroshock therapy in Requiem for a Dream, the post-lobotomy scene in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, the scene where he's carrying his father to the lake in Big Fish, and the scenes where he looks over the kids' photos and his own recreations in 1 Hour Photo. The ending of The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. Marley and Me. I've never heard so much crying in a theater. This is why I do not watch dog movies. They always kill the dog at the end. Too much for me. Just finding out Leslie died in Bridge to Terabithia. And the line Leslie's father said about how Leslie truly loved Jess. God, Bridge to Terabithia? More like Bridge to tearing my fucking soul out. Lord of the Rings end, when they realize Frodo is leaving as well. I cried when Boromir died. I cried during Theoden's funeral when Théoden said no parent should have to bury their child. I cried when Aragorn said, my friends, you bow to no one. But nothing will ever do how much I cried the first time I watched the movies when Gandalf said it's time Frodo and he got on the ship and the other hobbits were all crying. John Coffey asking Tom Hanks not to put the hood over his head in The Green Mile. That dude crying for Mama in Saving Private Ryan, and then shortly dying later. The end of Big Fish. I want to watch it again but can't bring myself to do it. But Happy Sado. I'm a leaf on the wind. Steel Magnolias, when they are at the funeral and the mother has a meltdown about her daughter dying. I cry every time. Losing a child is such a massive fair. Oh god, yes. This scene is so raw. Sally Field's performance is ugly and raw in the realest way possible. When she says she was there when Shelby entered the world and there when Shelby left, that's a tearjerker. In Philadelphia during Andy's wake, his brother plays home videos of the siblings as children and it's so sad. Also, the scene at the hospital when his family is saying goodbye for the night is a tough one. His brother breaks down and starts bawling. So many great scenes in that movie. Probably not the saddest, but one that always gets me is the end of American History X. From Derek crying over Danny's body to footage of the Vineyard brothers playing on the beach as kids. So bittersweet seeing them in happier, more innocent times. In Forrest Gump when he is talking to Jenny at her grave. Inside Out. Bing bong. Take her to the moon for me, okay? You can rest now, Tony. We won. Mr. Stark, you did it, sir. No, it was the hologram saying I love you 3000 to Morgan. In Up where Ellie dies in the beginning. Might not be a movie, but that episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when Will's father abandoned him yet again. How come he don't want me, man? I am 27 and cannot watch that scene without crying. Just always gets me. The scene in Good Will Hunting when Robin Williams' character tells Will it's not his fault and he breaks down crying. Ending of The Mist, after the main character gets out of the car and the mist clears. Grave of the Fireflies. When he gets a bunch of food and comes back to nurse his sister back to health, but she's already gone. Stay golden, Pony Boy. When number 99 dies in Clone Wars. No joke. When the little girl dies in Pan's Labyrinth. Come on, it's got to be the bit in Dumble when he gets taken away from his mum. Bambi's mom dying. The end of the film Lion based of a real story film. Honestly one of the best based on a real story films. Boromir asking Aragorn for forgiveness after being shot with 3 arrows. The end of Arrival. The end of Terms of Endearment. Shirley MacLaine's daughter is dying in the hospital and is on painkillers. Shirley is at the nurse's desk telling them her daughter needs some more medication. The nurses tell her it's not time. Shirley goes ballistic screaming that her daughter is in pain and they need to give her medication. They finally agree to give her meds and Shirley pulls herself together and thanks them. Also up until this point has always been well dressed and hair perfectly done. But in this scene bleached hair is growing out and she looks like hell. As a parent this gets me every time. Who wouldn't do this for their child? Olyella. The entirety of Dear Zachary. That movie is just heartbreaking. But the one scene that got me was when the mother walks into the water. For those who've seen it, that scene is the one that brings the most sadness, anger. That movie is exhausting to watch. Interstellar. The ending scene with Murph telling her dad that no parent should see their child die, or the montage of the video messages Coop was sent from his kids. Game of Thrones. Season 6 when the completely innocent Hodder sacrifices his life for Bran, just as you find out that was the one thing he ever lived to do. End of watch. Basically right at the end. When Maximus dies at the end of Gladiator. When Mufasa died. Disney gripped you by the heart by making Mufasa one of the most idealized types of dads people like to think about. Strong, tough but fair, kind and gentle when he needs to be, relatable to parents with some of his snarky moments. He was everything most people wanted in a father figure, and for a lot of kids it probably paralleled something, reflected something in their own father figure, or for those without, the kind of father figure they'd want in their lives. Then callously murdered before our eyes and symbols for ambition and jealousy. It hits hard to see someone like that go out in such a way, after coming so close to survival. You were my brother Anakin, I loved you. Terminator 2 when Arnold lowers himself into the molten metal. I'm going to go with a deep cut, when heroin Bob dies at the end of SLC Punk. Legit makes me cry every time, just how alone Matthew Lillard sounds. The ending of Man on Fire gets me every time. Denzel Washington is a pretty great actor.